Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be learning how to add lists of skip traced leads to the batch dialer. Hey guys, in this video, we're going to be learning how to add lists of skip traced leads to the batch dialer. Now, I love the batch dialer. I've been using the batch dialer for, I don't know, 8 or 10 months at least, maybe even a year, give or take. So call it 10 months I've been using it. I absolutely love it. It's a multi-line dialer, and I would highly recommend you check out the batch dialer. So I am going to go over here to my web browser. I'm going to move my head out of the screen so you guys can see. There you go. There you go. And guys, if you are not already using the batch dialer and you're looking for a dialer, again, highly recommend it. Click the link below this video and you can actually get a 7-day free trial. It's amazing. Or you can go to batchdialer.com/Dave to take advantage of the free 7-day trial, but they also give you unlimited outbound dialing. And that's like the coolest part of this dialer is you basically pay a fixed monthly fee and you get unlimited dialing. Guys, love it. All right. So again, 7-day free trial, batchdialer.com/Dave. And you can click the link below this video to get that free trial offer. Now I'm going to go ahead and log in here. Now, in a previous video or two here over on my YouTube channel, you can see different ways that I like to go about getting my leads. And also, I do all of my skip tracing over in batch leads. Now, the batch dialer doesn't do leads. They don't do skip tracing. They're just a dialer. So if you are looking to get leads, check out some of the other videos on my channel about pulling leads from either batch leads or PropStream. Or check out some of the videos on my channel about me skip tracing those leads over in batch leads. Today's video is going to be all about adding those leads to the batch dialer and setting up a campaign. Now, I personally don't use the batch dialer that often. I have virtual assistants that do this for me, right? So I've outsourced the outbound dialing. But from time to time, I will log into the dialer and I will actually monitor them. So it's like one of the coolest things about the dialer is that you can actually listen to somebody on your team, your virtual assistants, maybe your in-house ISAs, do the dialing. You can monitor those calls. You can even barge in on those calls. So it's such a cool tool. But again, today what we're going to be doing is we are going to be adding leads. Now, earlier today, I skip traced 7 different lists, and these were basically lists of vacant leads that I was able to pull and skip trace in my local market. So let's jump on in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head on over to the batch dialer. I'm going to go to my contacts, and then I'm going to go to the lists area. Now again, when you're importing leads or lists into the batch dialer, these need to be lists that are skip traced, right? You need to be adding in good data in here. Therefore, when you create your campaign, you can pull the lists in and you are ready to rock and roll. So again, you want your list to be lists of skip traced lists, skip traced data. Now, one thing that I want to highlight before we get going is when you are importing your leads or lists, again, go to contacts, then click on lists, and then up in the top right-hand corner here, you're going to see import contacts. That's where you're going to want to click. You're going to want to click on import contacts. Now, you are most likely not going to be able to drop in an XLSX, which is basically your typical CSV. So instead, you need to make sure that the files that you are adding to the batch dial are CSV files. And if you do not know how to do that, all you got to do is open your XLXS files, go up to File, click Save As, not Save, but Save As, and then in the file format, you're going to want to just find the .csv. It's very, very simple. It takes probably about, 10 seconds to do that. But again, it's very important that when you are adding your leads, that you add in a CSV file. So I'm going to drop in my first file now. And these are all vacants, right? So we're gonna do, I don't want to add a custom field. I just want to add my file. So what we are gonna do is now we're gonna be mapping. So you can see here, we have 525 vacants. This was file 7. And again, there's 7 of them here. So I'm gonna do all of these here. So again, whenever we're in the mapping section, we're gonna just wanna make sure that the mapping section is all filled out, and then we're gonna map our phone numbers. So first name, last name, address, city, state, zip, boom, that all looks good. Next, we're gonna have our mailing address, mailing city, mailing state, mailing zip. So all of that was automated. I didn't even touch it. It did it for me. Love it, okay? Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go down here and we're gonna see all of the numbers, and look at this. It already has all of those numbers in there. So number 0 is 1, number 1 is 2. It starts with 0, whereas on my sheet it's going to be 1. So you just got to coordinate these, but just use your head, you'll figure this out. So phone 0 is 1, 1 is 2, 2 is 3, 3 is 4, 4 is 5, 5 is 6, 6 is 7, and that's basically it. I don't really need numbers past 6. In fact, whenever I create my campaign, I typically go to the first 3 or 4 numbers, right? Because typically 80 to 90% of the time, it's number 1 that's going to get your contact. You know, number 2 and 3, it's going to typically be, you know, a 5% chance. And when you get to number 3 or even number 4, it's basically like a 1% chance you're going to be able to reach them. So adding in the 5th and the 6th and the 7th all the way to the 10th number it's kind of not even really worth our time. Really, the first 3 or 4 numbers are really going to be the ones that matter. So that's it. This is basically done. One thing I do like to also make sure that's in there is email 1. I don't really care about email 2 or email 3. Just the first email is fine. If it's not the right email, I can always get it from the person when my team's on the phone with them or when I'm on the phone with them. But that's really it. So this system is basically automated the process of adding in these leads, which is sweet. Next, I'm going to click forward, and it's going to say 525 vacant 7. I'm not going to assign this to a campaign just quite yet, but I could if I had already created that campaign. Scrub against existing contacts. You know, there's pros and cons to doing that. It says here if your imported file contains a phone number that's already in your database, we'll prevent it from importing in order to avoid a duplication, right? So, you know, pros and cons to scrubbing against your existing contacts. It's going to prevent duplicates, but at the same time, you know, when I'm doing vacants or I'm doing absentee owners, you know, it may be a month or 2 since my team's called them from the previous time I've done an import. So I personally don't like scrubbing against my existing contacts for that reason. I want to be able to, you know, it's basically like a follow-up call, right? It's a new call to these people, even though we may have called them in the past, right? Now, I do want to scrub I do want to remove duplicates in the list, right? There's really no reason to add multiple people that are on the list already, right? Duplicates in the list. I always want to take that out. I don't typically scrub the federal do not call because I'm not selling anything. You know, we're looking to buy properties. I do want to scrub my company do not call. This is basically means that, you know, maybe we've called them in the past and they said, do not call me again. We want to respect those people, right? We are marketers, but we're not trying to spam people with calls, especially if they've already told us not to call them. So the federal do not call, I don't typically scrub out. Again, I'm not selling anything, but the company do not call, I do, right? If they've already told somebody on my team not to call them, then we're going to respect that. I don't want to scrub out my mobiles, and I always want to scrub out my litigators, right? Anybody that's litigating, I don't want to deal with those people. They're not typically motivated sellers. If they are, they're going to contact me from another type of marketing. So that's really it. Remove duplicates, remove the company do not calls, and scrub the litigators, right? That's basically it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go ahead and click submit, and you're going to see that this over here in the bottom corner, I'm actually, my head's in the way, but it's adding that list. Now, if I go back to my lists area, my contacts and lists on the left side, you can see that it's processing those contacts. This list only had 299 contacts. Now I'm importing 7 lists today, and the reason is because I didn't just pull all the vacants in my area. Instead, I was actually doing it kind of by little city within my market, and that's why I have 7 actual lists of vacants, right? But they're all just St. Louis, Missouri vacants. That's my market. That's where I do my marketing. That's where I want to be calling individuals. So that's it. That was basically importing, one of those 7 lists. So let's keep doing this here. Import contact. Next, we're going to go to this one here. And again, sometimes this, sometimes it's going to, help you and do it exactly right. Other times it may be missing data here. So we just want to check when it comes to the mapping that first name is first name and last name is last name and property address and so on and so forth. So I'm just going to go quick, state, zip, zip. Mailing address, all looks good. Okay, number, that looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 7. Again, I don't typically go past 4 anyway, so they can import 7. That's totally fine. Email looks like it's good. So that's it, right there. All the mapping's done. I'm going to click next here. And from here, I'm going to do the same thing I did before. I want to scrub my company do not calls. I want to remove my duplicates. And I want to scrub my litigators. This right here looks like is list 6. I don't want to actually assign this to a campaign. I probably should have created my campaign first and then assign it this way, but it doesn't really matter because what I can do is I can go create my campaign and then I can add the leads that way. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. You can create your campaign first and then add your list to the campaign, or you can add your lists and then create your campaign. Either way, no big deal. So that's it. Boom, just like that. Again, we can go back to our contacts and our list, and we can see here it's checking the number types and it's actually importing these leads. All right, so while it is doing that, I'm going to go import my next list. So here is probably 7, 6. This is probably my 5th one. Double check that all these fields are matching. We do have our number 1, 2, 3 up to 7. Looks like we have our main email, so that looks good. So next we can go to this area, 525. That's today's date. Vacants, list number 5. No campaign selected. Remove duplicates. Scrub my do not call. Scrub my litigators. Boom, just like that. We're ready to go. So we're going to go ahead and submit that. Click back over here on the list, and we can see this one here. This is a bigger list here. It's taking a little longer, but the first list was 299 total contacts. The second list was 544 contacts, so on, so forth. So 7, 6, and 5 have been created. So we're going to import the next one here. And this will be, it looks like list 4. And again, these are CSV files. Very, very important that you are adding in your CSV files. It will not take any format other than CSV. So we have our numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have our email. Looking good, looking good. So remove duplicates, scrub my internal company do not call, and then we're going to scrub our litigator list. So we're going to go ahead and click submit, and it looks like we now have list 7, list 6, list 5, and list 4. So these are processing. So the cool thing is you can import these while the other ones are in the background processing. I really like that. So we'll speed this up. And if you're doing your skip tracing over in batch leads like I am, this data is going to come out really, really clean, which is awesome. So this is list 3. Let's go ahead and submit that. And again, I like to just double check. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 have been added. We have 2 to go. 2 to go. So here is list 2. Check our first name, last name, city, state, zip, mailing, city, state, zip. All looks good. We got our email there. We have all of our numbers in there. We're going to add that. Scrub our company do not call. We're not messing with the campaign there. We're going to click submit. And guys, we got 1 more to go. So we're always going to click over here on contacts and then list. List is where we want to be. So 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. You can see list 5 is still checking the numbers as well as list 2. Let's get that last one in there, right? So this is our last list. And again, we're importing 7 lists here today. So we're going to be importing a lot of leads. First name, last name, you got your mailing or your property address on top, then you got your mailing address. Now, if these fields aren't already matched like mine are, then you just need to click down and just find the actual area that, corresponds with the proper field, right? It's doing it for me because they're very well labeled, but I'm also pulling them out of batch leads. So both of those things are obviously going to help with this. All right, so that's it. Boom, I'm going to push that over. I'm going to scrub my company do not call. We're going to click submit. So now you'll see here that you can see all 7 of these lists. These are vacant lists in my market that we've added to the system today. So vacant 1, vacant 2, vacant 3, vacant 4, vacant 5, vacant 6, vacant 7. So that's good. So it looks like we're just waiting on this vacant 4 list, but the rest of these are in. So we have 160 contacts on this list here, 807, 204, about 1,200, 544, 299, and this vacant list 4, which was our biggest list here, is almost done. It looks like it's processing those contacts now, and there was 231 on that one. So I guess our biggest list was actually this list. Either way, 7 different lists of skip trace leads we just added in to the batch dialer, just like that, right? Super, super, super awesome. Oh, look at this. It's processing this list, and it's actually increasing as it's processing. So that is our biggest list. Very, very, very cool. All right, so this is done. So we have 7 lists all added in. So once you add your list by importing those, we could have created that campaign originally, or we can import our list, then create the campaign, and then add the list. Again, there's really no right or wrong way to do this. I usually just add my list, then go in and create a campaign, so on and so forth. So to create a new campaign, we're going to go up here to the campaigns area, and we're going to click on create a new campaign. I'm going to label this vacants. Actually going to label this STL, or actually we'll just keep it the same, right? I already have a bunch in here. So vacants, and this is 520, vacants 52521. Now you'll notice that at the top here, you're going to have the ability to click on advanced mode or not. And I typically like to look at the advanced mode because it's going to give us more options, right? So on the dialing mode, you can do a preview dialer, which is going to preview. It's also one at a time. So I like the predictive dialer because it allows you to actually have multi-line. Preview dialer is 1 line at a time. The predictive dialer, you can multi-line. So keep that in mind. And if you don't ever know, you can always click the little question marks. The call order, adaptive, highest first or lowest first, it doesn't really matter to me. We're going to call all of them anyway, right? So adaptive works for me. Caller ID, I'm going to use individual numbers, and I actually have a lot of numbers in here. So we're going to add all of those numbers in here. And the reason we have a lot of numbers in here is because you don't want your numbers to be marked as spam, and also you don't want to be doing too much dialing from one individual number, right? So the more numbers you have, the better, okay? Call recording, we're going to leave that option on as enabled because they're going to record all the calls, which is awesome. Answering machine detection, I actually want to turn that off. Reason being is when we get an answering machine, we want to be able to drop a voicemail. We don't want the system to detect it and then move on to the next one. We actually want to be able to have the option of dropping a voicemail. So we're actually going to turn the answering machine detection off. All right. Pro tip, guys, make sure that you keep the answering machine detection off so you can enable your team the ability, or yourself, to actually drop those voicemails. All right. I'm not going to scrub the federal do not call, but I do want to scrub the company do not call. Again, this is the advanced mode. You can see that when you click on here, that you can have the ability to see more options. So the next screen here will be the call behavior. I like mine to beep once when my callers are calling. You can set auto answer, or you can have it actually do the ringing sound. But I like it to just beep once. That way, if my team's doing something else, or they're using the dialer and they're checking their email, it'll beep at them whenever somebody's on the other end. So that way they know, hey, they need to start talking. They need to introduce themselves. Simultaneous dials per agent. This is basically how many lines. And you should be able to take this all the way up to 10, but that's crazy. I don't personally recommend you go above 3. 3 lines at a time is great because it's 3 times 1. You're going to be able to do 3 times as much. But if you do more than 3, you're going to have a lot of people, or they're going to have a lot more possibility of individuals answering those calls while you are on a call, right? So the simultaneous dials per agent I set to 3. That's a really good standard, and that's kind of the default. Max attempts per record. Typically what we'll do is on the max attempts per record, we can leave that at 3, or we can even take it up to 4 or 5. In this scenario, I'm going to leave that at 3. My retry time, I'm actually going to take that up to maybe about, let's see, the default was 3. Let's take that up to 5. 5 minutes is going to be the retry time. The daily connects limit. And this is the daily connects limit, 0 for no limit. So we're going to actually leave that at 0. The abandoned timeout is 30 seconds, and the ring time duration is also 30 seconds. We're going to leave that alone. Next, we have our calling hours, Sunday through Saturday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you can actually change that if you want. I don't. I leave it alone. Next is going to be your call results. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that all of the call results that I have in my system are in here. And the not interested callback is the NICB result. I think I may need to get rid of, let's see, do not call and do not call. We have 2 of those in there. Drop a voicemail is good. No answer, successful sale, voicemail, wrong number, abandoned answering machine, busy, callback, disconnected, not interested, unknown. So those are really, really good call results right there. And you're going to want to configure those either over in phone system or maybe even up in your settings before you get going. The do not call is the most important one, or drop a voicemail, right? If they tell you not to call them, click do not call. It'll add them to the do not call list. Drop voicemail is actually going to be something that the team's going to use to drop a voicemail on somebody's answering machine when we are calling them. So you're going to want them to wait until they hear not only that person's voicemail recording, but also the beep before they hit the drop voicemail. Very, very important. And in the last screen, we saw the answer machine detection. We turn that off. We don't want it to move on when it hears an answer machine. We want to actually listen to those messages and drop those voicemails manually. So that's basically our call results. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to add in our agent script. If you want to add a new one, you can. And then here is where you're going to add in your contact list. So I want to add in skip trace 1, 2. Oh, actually I don't, because this is the wrong ones. I'm going to go all the way to the bottom here. Vacant 1, vacant 2, vacant 3, vacant 4, vacant 5, vacant 6, vacant 7. So these are the lists that I just added in here. And that was the bulk of this video, right? It wasn't creating the campaign. It was actually adding in the lists. So again, you could create your campaign first and then add those lists to the campaign when you're adding them, or you can add the lists like I did in this video, and then whenever you create your campaign, you add your list. Again, no right or wrong way, guys. Keep it simple. Either way works great. Last but not least, I want to add in my individual agents, right? So I have Dana and I have Rochelle. I actually have 2 dialer seats, but I have 3 agents, right? The reason is because you can have your virtual assistants or your team members share a dialer seat, right? So if one person's calling in the morning and one person's calling in the afternoon, they can share a login, right? So you're not having to pay, for more service than you actually need. I actually have 3 callers, 2 call in the mornings and 1 calls in the afternoon. So we only need 2 dialer seats. Dana and Rochelle are the agents that are listed on those dialer sheets. Last but not least, we have select a lead sheet, which we don't even have. And if you wanted to have a lead sheet, you could add that in there. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click save. Duplicate can't, oh, it's because I clicked the button too fast. So you got to bear with it sometimes. Okay, cool. So look at this. It is actually refreshing. You can see I'm over here on the campaign side, and this is refreshing. All right, I paused the video for about 30 seconds while it was refreshing, and then I hit resume, and boom, here it is. Here is our vacant campaign, and you can see the total leads that we added were 6,533, and looks like the total leads left is 6,133. And then once we start dialing on these, the redials will appear, right? So there's no statistics on here because we just created this campaign. We haven't dialed anybody yet, right? So if you scroll down here and you look at some of my other active campaigns, looks like I have 4 active campaigns. 4 pause campaigns, no completed at this point, and 4 archived campaigns. So I do have a bunch of campaigns in here, like for instance, this, BLS unlabeled or the Sherpa unlabeled, you can see that the total leads, maybe 55,000 or 26,000, but none of these are new over here. But you do have the ability to redial on these campaigns. So the one that I just added, the most important one, the newest one, the one that I just added all these lists to and created the campaign, is my vacants 52521. That's today's date, right? And there's 6,533 leads total that my team can start dialing on first thing in the morning, guys. So I apologize that this video ran almost 30 minutes. Looks like we're at about 25 minutes. But, I really wanted to break down and explain and show, how you add lists of leads to the batch dialer and how you want to create your campaigns. Okay. Pro tip here. Pro tip. When you are adding in your lists, make sure they are CSV files or they will not be accepted. All right. Last but not least, guys, batchdialer.com/Dave. Use this URL or click the link below this video to take advantage of a multi-line dialer, guys. They are going to give you a 7-day free trial and you get unlimited outbound dialing. All right. Unlimited outbound dialing is awesome because you can basically set up 3 lines. If you want to get crazy, you can go to 4 lines or 5 lines. And as long as you have leads in the system, you are going to be able to call infinite amount of them. It's unlimited. So I would highly encourage you guys to check out the batch dialer. It is the best auto dialer on the market, especially for real estate investing. I've tried all these other dialers like Mojo and Call Tools and you name it. Batch dialer has gotten me the best results by far. So I highly recommend it and take advantage of the 7-day free trial. Guys, I hope you learned something. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, click like, subscribe for more videos like this, and drop a comment down below and let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Signing off.